APA in-text citations. They're really pretty easy. Once you understand that, there are only two formats for in-text citations. Once you have those two down, all that remains are a few variations that are simple and easy to master. Okay, let's talk about the two types of APA citations. The first one is called the parenthetical in-text citation. That's where the author's name and publication information are within the parentheses that come at the end of the sentence, before the sentence period. The next type is the narrative in-text citation. In the narrative in-text citation, the author's last name, or maybe even something about the author, are a part of the sentence. So the only information within the parentheses is the date of publication. Regardless of which type that you use, both refer to a reference citation on the last page of your paper. Okay, let's talk about using sources in APA. There are only two ways that you can use a source in any research paper. One is to quote from it, verbatim, putting the quoted words in quotation marks. And the other is to paraphrase. That's where you more or less put that same quote in your own words. Regardless of whether you quote from the source or whether you paraphrase the source, you always must cite the source, whether it is a quotation or a paraphrase. Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper into citations. Let's go first with how to cite a quotation. The first thing you want to do is to be sure to introduce the quotation with what's called a signal phrase. Oncologist S. Graham writes, : So that introduces or sets off our direct quotation. And then comes the direct quotation, verbatim, set off with quote marks. And whenever you use a quotation in an APA paper, it must have a page number. So here we see page number 61. Page here is singular, so we're seeing only the P. That's the abbreviation, followed by a period, followed by a space, followed by the actual page number. When you have multiple pages, you use PP, followed by a period, a space, the page range with a hyphen in between them. There is no space before or after that hyphen indicating the page range. If there is no page number, count the paragraphs from the beginning of the article to whenever you arrive, the paragraph that contains the quote that you're using. And that is the number that you use, preceded by the abbreviation para dot. In-text citations for a paraphrase. First, a paraphrase is simply taking that quote and putting it as much in your own words as you can, knowing that you're going to have to repeat certain words. For example, here's the original from Sarah Graham that we've already read. Now notice the paraphrase of that original. Although the public perception is that breast cancer is the #1 killer of women, the reality is that more women die of lung cancer. You will also note that during that paraphrase, key words have to be repeated. How else do you say breast cancer, women, or lung cancer? You must repeat key words whenever doing your paraphrases. Another thing about in-text citations for paraphrases, a page number is optional, although you might want to use one for the convenience of your reader. Okay, our next topic is the block quotation. Any quotation longer than 40 words must use the block quote format. Here's how you do it. First, you place a colon at the end of the sentence introducing the quotation. Then you simply type in your quotation, but then you highlight that entire quotation, go up to the home menu, and then over to increase indent, and tap that increase indent one time, and that gives you the little hanging indentation that you need. Now note that for block quotations, there are no quote marks, and as a result, there is no period after that parentheses that contains the in-text citation. Thanks for watching. I hope this short little APA video helped. And in the meantime, take a look at this video here. It is the full Monty. Takes you through everything you need to know about APA. Okay, talk to you later.